Hello there, and welcome to the booth here at the World Magic Cup. That's Randy Buehler, that's Ian Duke, and I'm Marshall Sutcliffe, and we are here to bring you the finals. It's been super exciting, every single match leading up to this, and we know that the finals is going to deliver as well. Who's going to be our champion, Thailand or Italy? Let's find out right now. And welcome to coverage of the World Magic Cup. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Randy Buehler and Ian Duke, and it's time for the finals. We have reached a long and troubled road for these players. I'm sure they have had to fight through pool play, they've had to fight through Swiss play, and they find themselves matched up. We have Thailand versus Italy. Let's meet our teams.
Sudipong Popitakun, Ekala Salakup.
Cham Pasit Pacha.
Vidapat Silat Balakun. Team Thailand.
Sawadee.
Andrea Mengucci.
William Pizzi.
Marco Camilluzzi.
Francesco Bifero.
Team Italy.
All right, so you get to take a look at our teams there. You get a little feel for their personality as they name themselves off. And we're going to start on our middle table here, it looks like. That is table B, where we have Verot, Cyrilert Vorakul playing a Tarka Red. Now his opponent on the other side is William Pizzi of Italy playing Temur Megamorph. So first things first, gentlemen, as we start play here, what do you guys make of this matchup? Ian, any strong thoughts on a Tarka Red versus Temur Megamorph?
I think game one, the Atarka Red deck is going to be a pretty square favorite. Just being able to swarm over the Temur Megamorph, you know, whether it's going wide or just getting through for a bunch of damage early. Rattleclaw Mystics and such aren't great blockers, but I think the character changes post-sideboard.
All right, well, we can see that Zergo Bellstriker is the opening play for Verot here as he gets in there.
Yeah, he took a mulligan into 6 cards, though, and has a second Zergo in that hand, so not working with as many resources as he might like to have.
William Pizzi's just going to take the 2 damage with his Rattleclaw Mystic at the ready. And a Dragon Fodder on turn 2, though. So still a nice start here for Verot as he passes a turn back to William Pizzi. Now we are playing Team Unified Standard here. For those of you that haven't seen, Randy, can you give him an overview on what Unified Standard is?
Yeah, it means that you only get 4 copies of each card in Standard to deal out between all of your decks. Now, the way the Italians brought this, they were part of a super team, the teams that tested together, the United States, Canada, Brazil, Italy. Those were 4 of the pre-tournament favorites, and they all decided to work together. Their solution for this unified standard involved a Temur Megamorph deck, not something we've seen a lot of in Standard. And here you see missed 3rd land drop for William Pizzi is not exactly the way he wanted that turn to go.
Looks like a Bounding Krasis might stem the bleeding a little bit for him here.
Yeah, indeed. Still has 3 mana thanks to the Mystic.
He is going to allow attacks first, though, and then play.
Yeah, he'd rather have the
Krasis.
3/3 blocker than tap something pre-combat.
And he's even going to untap his Rattleclaw Mystic, which is going to give him access to red mana here, which can be pretty threatening if you're sitting in Verot's seat.
Yeah, it doesn't look like William Pizzi has anything to do with the red mana here, and he declines to block with the Rattleclaw Mystic because it is so important being his 3rd mana source here.
All right, now he decides to block Zergo Bellstriker, which is going to prompt a Tarkus Command and a trade, and Verot's going to be pretty happy about that.
Yeah.
That's going to get in for, what, 7 damage here, and also open the door for that stuck Zergo Bellstriker in his hand to come down and actually be a relevant spell.
Yeah, I know that the super team that included the Italians felt like they were going to see a lot of Atarka Red, they were going to see a lot of Esper Dragons. They built this Temur Megamorph deck because they thought that it was favored against both of those extremes of the format. Jury's still out on whether it's actually favored. I know that the teams that ran this deck over the course of the weekend were not in love with it. And yeah, here you see Pizzi with 3 disdainful strokes.
No.
However,
that only hits 1 card, right?
Yeah, disdainful stroke, not really what he wants to have stuck in his hand here. But Collected Company is a nice option for him here. during this attack step. We've seen some pretty shaky collected companies over the weekend here. A couple misses, a couple only getting one creature. But I think what Team Italy needs right now is just to have a huge collected company here, maybe a Bounding Crassus and a Savage Knuckleblade or something along those lines.
Yeah, Pizzi's thinking at the beginning of the attack step. He knows he might wind up with a Crisis. That might want to tap one of Verot's creatures, so he's debating with his teammates when to actually cast this collected company.
Yeah, because the upside to waiting, of course, is that he could hit 2 creatures that can block and just eat up.
Right.
I feel like that's what Pizzi's got to go for here. He's far enough behind that he just needs to just try for the best possible scenario, which is collected company into 2 big fatty creatures that can just block and take out 2 of those attacking Atarka red creatures.
And Verot's hand is down to a Titan strength.
Super close game here. I mean, Verot got in a lot of early damage, but he's running out of steam, and it's all going to come down to what this collected company shows for Team Italy.
William Pizzi will be tapped out here with no blocker, so he needs to hit something. Now, he's not dead if he doesn't, but
He's at 3.
hard to imagine him taking this hit. And I do see some judge hands coming in just to double check something here, so we'll let them sort that out before we get the sweat on what William Pizzi actually hits with his collected company here.
It looks like this. I think the spotters were just getting Pizzi's hand updated. There was a 3rd copy of Disdainful Strokes showing in the hand viewer, but that was not actually in his hand.
Okay, so he's got 2.
So let's see what we hit here.
He
One
has
Death Mist
indeed
Raptor.
hit a Death Mist and a Den Protector. He also could have a Rattleclaw instead. As far as blocks go, they're pretty much identical. But if it's not going to block, then they're quite a bit different. One of them makes mana, the other one does not. So Pizzi's going to have to decide how the turns go moving forward. We know he's going to take the Death Mist Raptor, though, and he goes for the non-mana producing option with Den Protector.
I feel like regardless of what you take here, it's got a block.
I agree.
I think you're right. And I think he's going to. Block, block. This is playing around another Atarka's command here. Making sure that the creatures die.
So from Verot's point of view, it's actually a tough decision whether to fire off that Titan Strength. I kind of like just using it here, getting in that 3 damage guaranteed. I think with the Death Mist Raptor on the table and being otherwise out of gas, you're basically giving up on getting through combat damage anytime soon. So you might as well take advantage of the Titan Strength and the Scry.
Now, Ricardo Tessitore's having a quick chat with Pizzi, but in the meantime, Verot did make that play, Ian. Titan Strike hit the Goblin, and the card went back on top of the library here as well.
So we don't know what it is, but that's good news for Team Thailand. Presumably, if you're keeping a Scry here, could be something powerful like an Atarka's command.
All right, we've got an update from our back table as well. Once again, Marco Camiluzzi with the quick start in his Atarka red deck. He defeats Cham, Passadparcia, and the Abzan aggro deck in game 1. So 1 to the good for Italy. If they're going to be our World Magic Cup champions, Marco Camiluzzi could be a big part of that.
Oh, wow. Of Carol keep.
No wonder he kept it. Are we going to see this get Teamer Charmed here?
I think we might. It's a pretty good use of Teamer Charm.
It really is. It's a little awkward because I think Verot actually has a 3rd land in hand here.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't play the land, so he can potentially play a land off the Abbot.
It makes sense, but now he's getting no Abbot out of the deal.
That's right.
Wow, so Teamer Charm doing good work here for William Pizzi, as he looks like he's stabilized at 6 life now. Savage Knuckleblade in hand, that can turn the race right back onto Verot's side of the board quite quickly too.
So here's the classic question. When do you start attacking against the Atarka red deck? How much do you decide to hold back blockers and play it safe versus valuing ending the game quickly before some powerful spells or burn spells can come off the top?
All right, I've got another match update here from Rashad Miller, our reporter down on the floor. He says that on table A, there was a Jace fight between the two Esper Dragon stacks. That's Andrea Mengucci versus Sutapong Papakutugul, and Sutapong won. So that's one for Thailand. So the two games that have won have now been split, one on either side. And there's Savage Knuckleblade. He doesn't want to take any damage from his pain lands here, and he doesn't want to tap anything. So he's not going to give it haste this turn. He's just going to leave it back as a 4/4 blocker and get in for 3 damage with his Death Mist Raptor. Another land off the top for Verot, who can only pass the turn with just the 1 Goblin token left to fight. Another land for William Pizzi. He's got Verot down to 17 with that last attack, but really wants to start pressuring the life total hard now. Ooh, he's going to pump up Savage Knuckleblade here. Take 6 damage, you fall down to 11. This does actually set up a lethal attack next turn. At least forcing a chump block.
I think Verot drew a Swift Spear. That is the haste creature that has led Pizzi to keep 2 blockers available.
He may just want to attack with Knuckleblade twice more here. This is a critical turn as far as William Pizzi's game plan for finishing off this game. Yeah, it's just going to be the Savage Knuckleblade. I wonder if Verot will chump. Doesn't feel like he can win the game if he chumps, but I don't think he can win this game either way. William Pizzi says, yeah, sure. And there's a Den Protector now for William.
Yep.
So Italy way ahead in this early stage of the finals here on table B. A nice draw there for Verot. Hordling Outburst resolves. Currently, none of the threats for William are evasive, but if that Den Protector gets turned face up, it is. So what does he want to get? Just get back another Den Protector? Does he have time for that? He could also go for the win with Temur Charm here. Is there any risk to that? To just saying none of your creatures can block, as they're all power 3 or less, and just kill you?
So,
like, he would need double a Tarka's Command or something, which would have William dead anyway?
Titan Strength could allow one of the creatures to block.
Okay.
Become Immense would be met with Disdainful Stroke. It's one of the few or only targets in the deck.
Okay.
But if there is a Titan Strength, that lets Verot block 1 creature. I still don't think that's really enough there, though.
Yeah, I think he's just going to get back Temur Charm and go for the win here. He's got 12 power on the board. He's got Temur Charm. Is he going to go for the hidden mode?
No block.
Yes, he is. William Pizzi puts Temur Charm on the stack and says, creatures with power 3 or less can't block this turn. And that should earn him the win here.
Resolve. Come to face.
And it does indeed. William Pizzi wins one for Italy. So he's up 1-0 in his match. Marco Camuluzzi's up 1-0 in his match. And Mengucci is down a game in his match from Italy's perspective here. We'll be back right after these messages.
In The Art of Magic the Gathering Zendikar, you can experience the danger and beauty of Zendikar like never before. This lavishly illustrated hardcover book features the award-winning Art of Magic the Gathering and gives you an insider's look at the secrets of Zendikar, its people, continents, and creatures. Available everywhere January 5th. Watch the best players in the world battle on Magic's biggest stage. Pro Tour Oath of the Gatewatch starts February 5th in Atlanta, Georgia, featuring Modern and Oath of the Gatewatch booster draft. Watch all 3 days streamed live on twitch.tv/magic.
Welcome back to the feature match area here in Barcelona, Spain. Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Ian Duke and Randy Buehler bringing you the finals of the World Magic Cup. We are a good section of the way through the finals here already. Two of the Italians have picked up a game win and one Thai player. So still shaping out how this thing's going to go before we actually crown a champion here, but this is the fun part. Marco Camiluzzi picked up game one against Cham Pasidparcia pretty quickly. We get updates from our floor reporter, and that one came in pretty quick in game one. Not surprised to hear it, though. That was a Tarka Red winning in Marco Camiluzzi's hands.
It's pretty interesting the way Thailand has their deck set up. They actually have two very aggressive decks. In addition to a Tarka Red deck, they have an Abzan aggro deck, which is what Cham's playing here in this matchup.
So they went very aggro, pretty darn aggro, and then control.
And then Esper Dragons, yeah. I mean, most of the Abzan aggro decks that we've seen in the field are actually in the quote-unquote wooded foothills slot, as Frank Karsten would call it, right? You either have a Tarka Red or Abzan aggro. The Thailand lineup, it's the only one I've seen that actually manages to run both.
All right, well, players are taking a look at their opening hands here, and we're going to see shortly which one has the tools needed to put themselves in the champion circle.
Their Abzan deck is essentially a Windswept Heath deck, not a Wooded Foothills deck.
So you see Marco Camiluzzi asking a quick question of our judge, Ricardo. In the meantime, there's Magic to be played. That looks like a keeper there.
It's 2 land, 5 spells. It's got to be good, right? I guess there's no green mana?
There's no green mana. You'll live with that, I think.
Meanwhile, on the other side of the table, I saw a pretty good hand for Team Thailand there. It looked like 4 lands with a nice assortment of mana. Den Protector, Surge of Righteousness, and Hangerback Walker, I believe, was the hand for Thailand.
Now, Ian, you and I had a chance to watch Cham play this matchup earlier today.
That's right.
And he kind of crushed it.
Yeah, he had an excellent, excellent match against Martin Dang. Had some really tight decision-making, navigated his way through, and took down the Pro Tour champion playing with his championship deck. So very, very impressive there for Team Thailand. We'll see if they can do the same against Italy here.
He's got to do it back-to-back if he's going to put his team through and get that championship.
Looks like Marco has had Ricardo look something up.
Yeah, I think they're looking at an Oracle text on a card.
Which card, though?
I don't know. We did have a little situation earlier with a Chandra and when you can activate it and how it gets transformed. They may be going back over that, as he may have brought those in out of the sideboard for this matchup, and he wants to make 100% sure he's clear, though I couldn't actually see which card they were talking about for sure, so that's just speculation. All right, here's Monastery Swiftspear to start things off, though, for Marco Camiluzzi. Sandstep Citadel for Cham is going to give him access to lots of different colors of mana, and here's a Hangerback Walker on turn 2 for him.
Interesting sideboard card in Camiluzzi's hand there. There's, I think, is 1 copy of Goblin Heel Cutter that's come in here. This is surely the matchup that it's in for, being able to get past blockers like Hangerback Walker, like Siege Rhino.
Totally. All right, so here is Hangerback Walker that's going to take Wild Slash and turn into a Thopter. So Rashad was able to find out which card Marco was asking about, and it was Yasova Dragonclaw was what he wanted to know about.
Which is a one-of in his own sideboard.
In his own board. But it's kind of a tricky card with triggered ability that you can pay for, so he probably just wanted to make sure there wasn't a timing thing that he didn't fully understand coming in. Okay, looks like Cham's going to chip in there with the Thopter token before just passing the turn back here on 3 mana. You know, Marco's had a reasonable start, but not exactly a blazing one here. He's attacked for 1 a few times here and played a Wild Slash.
It declines to dash out a Heel Cutter.
Yeah, and Cham wants to use up his mana at least somewhat for this turn, so he's going to use Surge of Righteousness to just take down the Swift Spear now. What do you think Marco has lined up for this turn?
Looks like he may have just passed the turn back. His hand a little bit awkward here. He has that Goblin Heel Cutter we talked about before, but he's not going to be able to play that until turn 4. He could have dashed it, of course, that turn, but wanted to see, I think, what Cham would do in combat. And, you know, it may be that he just wants to play the Goblin Heel Cutter, hard cast it so that he frees up his mana to do other things like roast a Siege Rhino or play some pump spells. So we'll probably see that Heel Cutter come down this turn. Sure enough, we do.
Yeah, perhaps worried about an Obzon Charm here or something along those lines.
And Marco Camiluzzi is really going to need this Goblin Heel Cutter to stick. It's his only recurring source of damage. He's got a couple pump spells in his hand.
Oh, and it's not going to stick. He's willing to give up a Thopter Cham as he uses Dromoka's command to put a counter on his Thopter and then fight the Heel Cutter. So pretty big blow there.
Definitely. Now, on the surface, it may look like both players are out of creatures here and out of gas, but we see in Passed Parch's hand here 2 copies of Den Protector, so he's definitely playing for the long game. Going to start recurring some things from his graveyard, maybe getting back a Surge of Righteousness or Dromoka's command, and continue picking off Marco's creatures.
Yeah, you know, I have to say that Cham's deck post-board does seem really well suited to play against this Tatarka red deck. It has good removal options, multiple good removal options, and it even has ways to close out the game quickly once it turns the corner, and to gain life even if it finds itself super far behind.
Definitely. He's been playing this deck, even though it's an Obzon aggro deck game 1, he's been playing it like a control deck games 2 and 3 against Tatarka red. And a nice pickup off the top is On Offense of the Foremost, however, met with roast from Marco Camiluzzi's hand.
Yeah.
And a Monastery Swift Spear off the top for Marco, just what he needs here to get a little bit of offense going. He does get a Prowess trigger from Roast, and it looks like he's going to use that Titan Strength for another 4 damage, 3 plus the 1 Prowess and a Scry. So this will be a total of 6, I believe, from the Monastery Swift Spear. So out of nowhere, off the top comes Monastery Swift Spear for 6 damage. Huge for Team Italy.
Ouch!
2, 3, 6.
Did he scry?
Surrender. 12. Oh, right. Go.
I didn't see if he scried, and I didn't see if it was to the top or bottom if he did.
Yeah, I think there was a little bit of discussion among the players of just counting the Prowess triggers, making sure they've got the right life totals, the right amount of damage coming in.
Yeah, so now interesting draw here for Cham. He found an Arishan Cleric, so he can go morph Arishan Cleric this turn if he'd like, or he can go morph, leave up the mana to turn it face up. And he's going to go with play 2 spells this turn, gain 3 life in the process. All right, looks like Andrea Mangucci in game 2 on table A is looking good with a transformed Jace and a Tasigur on board against Sudapong. So that one's not over yet in game 2, but things are looking good for Andrea Mangucci. We'll keep you updated as we move through here. And there we go, Surge of Righteousness coming back to hand off of the Den Protector. And you know what? Den Protector's going to get in there. Cham knows he needs to get this game moving forward, and he has an unassailable answer to the Monastery Swift Spear in hand as it sits. This is going to get really tough for Camiluzzi here. Camiluzzi just passes the turn back, though he did just find a Wild Slash, which can kill the Den Protector and sort of stem the bleeding here. Not exactly the role that Camiluzzi wants to play with this deck, but hey, it beats dying.
Marco's actually not found green mana at any point this game.
No. 4 mountains. All right, there is that second copy of Den Protector face down, and Cham has been careful. He's actually left it such that he can flip it up and still keep that mana up for Surge of Righteousness as well.
And now we've got looping Den Protectors for Cham. Frustrating spot for Marco. He knows about that Surge of Righteousness, which is brought back by the first Den Protector. So he really needs like a great many creatures before he can make a profitable attack here. He's got that Titan Strength, but unfortunately it's going to be really hard for him to set up a board state where he can use that effectively. And as Randy pointed out, no green mana for the Atarka's Command stranded in his hand, so he actually needs like multiple good draws here to really put together an offense again. He doesn't have that much time.
And he's going to play a Hangerback Walker is Cham for 2 now as his offenses start to mount.
Become immense off the top.
Immense off the top. Not really what Camuluzzi wants to see. I mean, that's one of his most powerful plays, but
yeah,
with the Surge of Righteousness in hand, it's just a liability here.
Yeah, almost a dead draw with how little time he has left in this game. Even if he finds a green source of mana, he can't cast both the Atarka's Command and the Become Immense in the same turn. And what's more is whatever creature he chooses to pump up with a pump spell, oh my goodness. I was going to say the Surge of Righteousness was a problem, but now here comes Wingmate Rock.
Yeah, that's going to be it for game number 2. Cham defeats Marco Camuluzzi here, and let me fill in this little box. So they're going to be going to a game 3. It looks like table A, that's the one that's closest to us here from where the camera sits at this angle, is still going on. This is the one that we updated you on a few minutes ago, where Manguchi seemed to be in the lead, and it looks like he still is. In fact, I think he just won that game because I see his opponent, Sudopong, picking up permanents. We'll get confirmation of that just to make sure, but I believe we're going to get a game 3. Yeah, Manguchi did in fact win. So we're going to get a game 3 on table A. We are going to get a game 3 on table C as well. It's just how it goes here at the World Magic Cup. It's never easy for these teams.
And then it's Pizzi who's up a game, right? Italy is up on the middle table?
Yep. Yeah, so far the game count is 3 for Italy, 1 for each player, and 2 for Thailand.
So, Marshall, why don't you run us through our 3 tables, the 3 matchups, and the current scores between them?
Yeah, sure. So on table A, that's the one that's closest to us here. You can see them sideboarding here. That's Andrea Mangucci closest to the camera for Italy on Esper Dragons. Now he's playing the mirror match against Sudopong Papatugal here as they have split games in the beginning. Now, if you move your eyes down to the middle part, which is what we're looking at here, this is table B, Virapat Ciliart Vorakul, and he is playing a Tarka Red down a game to William Pizzi. We watched that game on camera, who's on Team Megamorph. The last table down the stretch there is the one that we just came from, which is Cham Patisparchia, who is playing Abzan Aggro, equaled up at a game apiece against Marco Camuluzzi on a Tarka Red. So that's the big picture. To zoom in a little bit here, this is the only game that currently isn't going to a game 3. So let's jump in here and see if William Pizzi can finish off for Italy or if it's going to be Virapat evening things up for the Thai team.
So it looks like starting off here, both players with quite good hands. Virapat Ciliart Vorakul leading off with a turn 1 Monastery Swiftspear. Got quite a bit of gas in the tank here. As you can see the rest of his hand on the right-hand side here, Lightning Berserker, Monastery Swiftspear, Abbott, Rending Volley, and Temur Battle Rage.
2 land, 5 spell, kind of exactly where you want to be.
Definitely, definitely. And on the other hand, let's take a look at William Pizzi's hand. He's got ample mana sources. He's got Den Protector, Savage Knuckleblade, Dispel, and Radiant Flames. So Dispel and Radiant Flames, 2 cards that came out of the sideboard here. The Radiant Flames in particular, a really, really strong card against a Tarka Red. I'm sure that's exactly what it's there for. But will he have enough time to deploy those sideboard cards against this pretty quick offense from Virapat Ciliart Vorakul?
Yeah, Virapat is going to face some interesting decisions as this game starts to hit the middle portion. And William Pizzi starts to creep up towards using that Radiant Flames. As, you know, with 2 Monastery Swiftspear on the battlefield, he does have ways to get their toughness above 4 pretty easily, but it takes a few spells, and he has to leave them up at all times.
I think his current debate is whether to dash this Lightning Berserker.
Okay. He did.
Yep.
In. So he gets in for 3 damage, so a reasonable hit there on the second turn of the game. William Pizzi falls to 16 and has no wiggle room here. He is not going to have a chance to make any misplays this game. So you're going to see he's going to carefully consult with Marco Camuluzzi across the way and Francesco Beffero, who's sitting right beside him.
Now, speaking of potential misplays here, Marshall, one of the key things that we can see this game is if Pizzi goes for a Savage Knuckleblade on turn 3, Virapat has Rending Volley. And Savage Knuckleblade, despite being 3 colors, is a blue creature with 4 toughness. It can be taken out by Rending Volley. So hopefully for the Italian team, we're going to see Pizzi try to get up to 3 mana and cast Radiant Flames before he tries to block with Savage Knuckleblade. But we'll see how that ends up.
He's going to play a face-up Den Protector here to kick things off. And you know what he's doing here? He's trying to bait Virapet into using something on his turn so that William can untap and play Radiant Flames for 3 and wipe away the board here. I would fully expect to see Den Protector block. This also holds back the Lightning Berserker potentially, as it looks a lot less enticing to just send it in. Virapat's going to do it anyway, though.
Yeah, I'm not sure he's got much else he can do with his mana this turn.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like he does it?
He doesn't really want to play an Abbot. There's no target for Rending Volley. There's no combo for Temur Battle Rage. Lightning Berserker is just the thing that is available to do with his mana here on turn 3.
And this is really key. If William Pizzi can take out that Lightning Berserker, that means the Radiant Flames is going to sweep away all the rest of the creatures. Otherwise, Lightning Berserker gets to hide in Virapat's hand because of the dash ability. So this is going to be a key turn.
Virapet thinking about it. Go to attacks. Team.
Yeah, I'm with you, Ian. It seems like Pizzi should block the Berserker.
The dash Berserker, yeah.
Try to trade.
Because he's not going to be able to get that thing with the Radiant Flames unless Virapat lets him.
Right, now Virapat can actually use Temur Battle Rage to have the Berserker win this fight rather than trade. I don't know if that's how he wants to spend his resources, but it's certainly an option.
Yeah, I mean, it does get 2 prowess triggers on each of the Monastery Swift Spears.
Looking at William Pizzi's hand, that play actually doesn't look bad at all, does it? Because he gets to get it back to his hand from the dash.
Yeah, I think if Virapat had full information about William Pizzi's hand, he might actually make that play.
Right. That's kind of a psychic play, though.
It's an absurdly
It's not a good use of a Temur Battle Rage unless you're psychic.
Now, how much does William Pizzi have to think here? If he plays a red source and plays Radiant Flames, is there anything that Virapat can do? Can he just play 2 spells to save his 2 creatures? Does he even care if that's the case?
I mean, Pizzi's got to go for it either way. And if Virapat does have 2 spells, well, at least he's getting 2 spells out of the way.
Yeah, so it's like he's getting 2 cards either way.
Yeah, those 2 spells would be super dangerous if used on Virapat's turn anyway. So.
Right. All right, so here it is.
It's actually a bit of a painful Radiant Flames. Both Yavimaya Coast and Shivan Reef had to be tapped for colored mana there.
Yeah, and technically speaking, he didn't need to tap the Yavimaya Coast for colored mana, but if he doesn't,
he didn't
then
want
a
to get blown
single
out by 1 spell.
would be a huge blowout, right?
Yeah, the 1 spell blowout, 2 spells, okay, fine.
Outpost Siege, exactly the kind of card that Virapat might like here, but not going to work out off an Abbot.
It's going to stay exiled, and Abbot of Carol Keep is going to be the lone offense currently for Thailand in this match. He passes the turn back to William.
So we'll take a look at
William is not messing around. He wants no threats on the table at any given time. What were you going to say?
Yeah, I was going to say this is the turn where William has the option to go for Savage Knuckleblade, but as we know, Virapat has Rending Volley in his hand, so it's actually pretty heads-up play just using the Fiery Impulse to take out the Abbot of Carol Keep there.
By the way, speaking of Abbot, that's the second one, and he's got another in his hand here. Can he just power through this middle part of the game off of the back of Abbot of Carol Keep?
Well, this is exactly the way to do it, and this really showcases the strength of Abbot of Carol Keep. Usually these red decks run out of steam after, an early creature sweeper and a couple of 1-for-1 removal spells, but Abbot of Carol Keep is just what Virapat needs to hang into the late game here against this teamer sort of mid-range deck.
PC's still not interested in Savage Knuckleblade.
I see.
You see why, Randy?
Collected Company. Yeah, that'll do.
Yeah, that's a even better use of his mana. And an even more instant speed use of his mana as well. Maybe he'll just get 2 Savage Knuckleblades. He's still got 2 left in his library. Boy can dream.
Might as well.
Teamer Megamorph deck may not have performed over the course of the weekend as much as the Italians might have liked it to. I mean, I've heard them, a little concerned about its performance. That said, here in the finals, William Pizzi seems poised to give his team a one-match lead.
That's right. He is up a game here. And here comes Abbott of Carol Keep.
Now, the only drawback to Collected Company here is that he has to take Dispel down. And
I think he's just going to take the damage here, actually.
if Verot has the combo, right, if he's on Battle Rage Become Immense, William Pizzi would be very sad not to have a Dispel available.
That's
Being able to
right.
block is not good enough to survive that combo.
Great point.
He's certainly hoping that Verot just says, sure, take two. And that's exactly what happens here, because now William doesn't have to use his entire turn on a Dispel. He gets to actually Collected Company and start to turn this game back in his favor. And there it is. Collected Company. Let's see what William Pizzi hits. This could be huge. Getting two great creatures here can really put him in the driver's seat.
He's got options.
He hit a Knuckle Blade, at least.
And Death Mist, and Heir of the Wilds, and Bounding Graces.
Yep. And he settles on Death Mist Raptor, Savage Knuckle Blade. So 7 power at instant speed on his opponent's end step, no less. Now, we will note here that Verot did not use that opportunity to take down the Knuckle Blade here.
True.
Which means that William, if he were to leave the pump available, could actually blank that card, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not likely to happen that way, but it's possible. Yeah, and this is awkward now, right? Now Verot has to say, well, I don't really want to take 4 damage here, but he can't really fire off the Rending Volley into the open mana of William Pizzi here.
Yeah, I don't think it's too big of a deal. You're not that concerned about a Savage Knuckle Blade on offense. What you really want to do is make sure you take out a Savage Knuckle Blade on defense.
You know, a lot of people have said that. As Verot falls down to 13. All right, now we're going to see the Rending Volley here. Or maybe I lied.
Well, you want to do it main phase so you get the Prowess trigger out of it?
Sure.
It's only 1 mana. He's not going to run out of mana.
Fair enough.
So from Verot's point of view, potentially he can Rending Volley, Atarka's Command, and Teamer Battle Rage all in 1 turn, which would be 13 damage, I think. Which would actually be lethal here. It would get right over that Death Mist Raptor.
Would, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but unknown to Verot is that William Pizzi has that Dispel, and the Dispel is going to be the key card here.
Whoa. This one's close too.
But what's interesting is Verot is sure to lead with the Atarka's Command first, and we'll see if Pizzi uses the Dispel on the Atarka's Command. If he does, the Abbott will still have 4 power, and the Teamer Battle Rage will be able to come on after that.
He's going to go for
he goes
Teamer
the
Battle Rage first.
Okay.
So he needs to resolve his prowess trigger to get it to 4 power. But Pizzi, it looks like he's going to put a halt to this right now. Dispel your Teamer Battle Rage. Now, the Abbott still gets prowess and is going to be a 4-powered creature here, but
Not getting the first strike makes
no
it a
matter
trade.
what, it just trades here.
And
So
the
that worked
Tarkus
out well for
command could,
Pizzi.
in theory, get
Yeah,
it
it
to
did.
enough toughness.
Now, wow, if Verot had gone for the Atarka's Command first and that got the Dispel, the Teamer Battle Rage is actually the card he cares more about resolving here.
Yes.
So really, really interesting sequence there.
Yeah, but it didn't matter. Once the Teamer Battle Rage was countered, no matter what, that was just going to be a trade there.
Yeah, Death Touch was taking down the Abbott no matter what happened.
Yep, toughness not applicable here. So let's jump back over to William Pizzi's side of the table as he observes nothing on his opponent's side as far as creatures go. And he's the one with the Savage Knuckleblade after the dust is settled here. Verot being patient once again with his Abbot of Carol Keep, not just running it out there this turn. He's going to wait a turn so that he has a bunch of open mana to try to grind out some more card advantage here. Okay, so Savage Knuckleblade hits the red zone. And a Morph is the follow-up play here.
It is, in fact, a Radical Mystic. Not a Den Protector. Still good enough to bring back Deathmiss Raptor, though.
Things looking good for William Pizzi. I want to remind you that William's the one who's up a game in this match. Verot needs to win back-to-back games against William to seal the deal here on table B.
I think Verot a little tempted to fire off an Atarka's Command here just to deal damage. He's got an Abbot for next turn, but then he's going to want to spend his mana on whatever he hits with the Abbot. Yeah, I'm with you guys. I think this Atarka's Command would have been really interesting in the middle of that massive combat as a way to try to bait out a Dispel. Don't know if it would have worked or not, but...
In the meantime, he's just going to fire it off on end step, leaving William Pizzi at 5. Is that a Chandra there?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I know that's a card that you're a big fan of, Ian, and it looks like Verot's brought it in out of the sideboard. He finds a Zergo Bell Striker here, though a little bit awkward, as he can only play one or the other. Getting Chandra down here seems pretty great, though.
Well, the problem is he can see that Deathmiss Raptor's about to come back. He's on 9. There is a lethal attack coming from William Pizzi next turn, in theory. At least there could be.
I mean, there just has to be, right? 4, 7, and then 2 minimum.
Yeah, I wonder, maybe the Chandra is just better there, and then you chump the Knuckleblade with Abbot of Carol Keep. And
Yeah, Zergo's not doing any blocking here.
Yeah. But then the problem is you have a really tough time flipping the Chandra the next turn. I think you'd need another Abbot, and there's only one left in the deck. I mean, one possible line would be to play Chandra there, and then next turn draw a Tarka's Command, and you can go ping with Chandra at Tarka's Command for 3, untap Chandra, ping again.
And you would be chump blocking with the Abbot in that scenario.
Right, and the problem with the Zergo is the Zergo can't block a big creature.
Even a medium one.
Or even, yeah.
And I'll tell you what,
The
William
old
Pizzi...
Iron Claw Orcs.
William Pizzi does not mess around with small creatures in this deck.
But the counter argument is maybe by playing the Zergo, you're forcing your opponent to leave up one additional blocker, or at least be nervous about that, and then maybe he doesn't attack you for a lethal amount of damage, then you don't have to chump with the Abbot of Carol Keep. So
Doesn't Chandra do that the same way, then?
Yeah. I mean, she's still a 2-power attacker.
Yes. Well, yes.
I think I like Chandra better there. It's tough because, you know, you have an exiled Zergo here that you're just leaving on the table. It's just gone.
Right.
If you don't use it now, but the board impact from a Zergo here is so small.
Yeah, if Verot gets 2 more turns, he'll be happier to have played the Zergo here.
That's right.
Trick is he may only get the 1 more.
Okay, so Rattleclaw Mystic turns face up and brings back the Raptor. Big draw step here for Pizzi. He double checks what Zergo Bell Striker does. This is important.
What can you block?
So, looks like...
What did he find?
I think he had the second Savage
geez.
Knuckleblade in his
Savage
hand.
Knuckleblade, give it haste. Only 1 block creature here, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and that should do it. Zergo can't block any of these.
Nope.
And the best thing that the Abbot can do is chump block 1 Savage Knuckleblade, leaving 9 damage exactly left over.
So could this be our first of 3 matches going to Team Italy?
It does seem to be the case. Verot's taking a long look just to make sure. You even see Marco Camiluzzi come over to make sure what's going on here. Block. And that does, in fact, do it. William Pizzi wins his match for Italy, and they are 1 match away from becoming our World Magic Cup champions. Now, I can tell you that both of the other matches are on game 3s here. We're holding the back one. As you can see, nobody sitting there. So that means we're going to move up to table A, which is Andrea Mangucci on Esper Dragons versus Sudapong Papatugul, also on Esper Dragons.
I am 17, he is 15.
15, 19, yeah?
No, 17.
15, 17.
So this is a huge revelation here in this match, or excuse me, in this game. Infinite Obliteration has come in out of the sideboard for Andrea Mangucci, naming Dragon Lord Ojutai, and it's resolved.
Wow. Speaking of resolving, Andrea Mangucci just went for Dragon Lord's Prerogative, revealing Ojutai, his own Ojutai, which has not been obliterated, thankfully. Draws 4 cards, uncounterable.
And a duress as well. This is looking amazing for Andrea Mangucci.
Viva Italia.
And Italy is up 1 game in this match, so if Andrea Mangucci can snowball this advantage here.
Yeah, they're actually tied in the match, but your point stands here, Ian. A win for Mangucci is a win for Team Italy in the World Magic Cup. And he looks way ahead here as he resolves Dragon Lord Ojutai.
That's a nice top
There's
deck.
dig through time off the top for Sudapong.
Okay, so fans of Team Thailand, here you go.
This is a huge dig through time.
Let's rally behind this dig through time and find something awesome.
He might need to find 2 something awesomes to get him out of this
He
mess.
just put that with his hand.
Oh, no. Okay, well, it looks like they're just continuing play here.
Yeah, we obviously knew exactly which card was in his hand before, so.
Now he's got to choose from these 7. Does he have the answers he needs? He's at 15 life, and Sudapong has to win this game to keep Thailand's hopes alive. They are a true Cinderella story here coming into the top 8.
Yeah, it's been fun watching him. I'm not sure the slipper fits here, though.
I think you might be right, Randy. Though, check it
It's a good
out.
start.
Sudapong did find an answer.
What a top deck.
That was fantastic.
Dig into Foul Tongue Invocation. Down goes Ojutai, and he's still up a card.
The awkward part about that was that the dig through time also had to find an island. So that he had enough mana, so he didn't really get to take 2 awesome spells, just the one he needed to not die, but bang, right back again. Dragon Lord Ojutai for Andrea Mangucci. He's got the Italian team behind him.
Wow. He's also got the ability to play Tassiger this turn, or to dig through time. These are some pretty good options.
These are
Look at
great
that
options.
hand.
And Sudapong Papatugul looks like his only remaining card in hand is Silumgar's Scorn, which is not powered up by a dragon.
No. And Mangucci knows about it, too.
That's right, from the duress.
Mangu's decided dig through time is the play.
We could be seeing the last sequences here of the match that wins Italy
How many?
their first World Magic Cup title.
So what do we need to see for Team Thailand here off the top? I mean, Foul Tongue Invocation buys a little bit of time, gets rid of that Dragon Lord Ojutai while Mangucci is tapped out, but that's only a start. Maybe dig through time into something else. Although dig through time costs 6 mana with only 2 cards in the graveyard, doesn't leave a lot less left with the rest of the turn. I think the best we could see for Team Thailand here is dig through time off the top, finding Foul Tongue Invocation, plus something else sweet, Foul Tongue the Dragon Lord Ojutai, hope that Mangucci just somehow hasn't found anything super powerful off this dig through time, and maybe get back into the game that way. But it's going to take a lot for Team Thailand to pull this one out.
Remember, Sudapong has also had his Dragon Lord Ojutai stripped out of his deck with Infinite Obliteration, so that win condition and threat is gone.
It's a very animated Italian team. I think they can see how far ahead their boy Mangu actually is here.
Camaluzzi getting a little into his story, and Mangu kind of gave him the, okay, man, concentrating here, trying to win a World Magic Cup. Sudapong looks focused.
Now, the other nice card Sudapong could draw is Painful Truths, but I think, and I could be mistaken, I think I saw that among the cards in the previous dig through time. So it could be sitting there in the bottom 5 cards of Sudapong's library.
Oh, that would be brutal because he needed that island to be able to cast Foul Tongue Invocation. So not having it, you know, he could have kept both under normal circumstances.
So there was an issue with a judge that wandered away to check on something?
You know, I'm not
We're
sure.
paused
Randy.
here, right?
All right, we're not exactly sure what's going on yet, so we're going to just hang tight as the judges work through whatever they need to do here. It's a little rough for Sudapong here as he's so far behind. Take a look at our feature match area here too, by the way. This is a special one for the World Magic Cup. You can see all the flags from all the other nations.
This tournament's so awesome.
It's such a great tournament.
Yeah, just a huge amount of energy all weekend. I mean, this is unlike any other high-level Magic tournament I've seen. Just the team camaraderie, the excitement. A lot of players here, this is their first time on the big stage, and they're just having a great time. It's just an awesome, awesome experience. If you folks at home want to have a chance to qualify for the World Magic Cup, make sure you check out the next round of World Magic Cup qualifiers. They're awesome events. They can get you here. They can get you onto the Pro Tour. So check them out if you get the chance.
Just a piece of advice. When you resolve a spell like this one, you need to keep your hand and the cards you're looking at separate. Try not to miss them.
Thank you.
Okay, so you heard Ricardo. He said he had just a piece of advice. When you resolve a spell like Dig Through Time, make sure that the cards you're looking at and choosing from don't touch your hand. And we are back. And there's Foul Tongue Invocation for Sudapong.
Okay.
He's also going to get in with a Shambling Vent here to swap life totals.
The ultimate slow roll there.
He was sitting there forever. There's a Jace for Andrea Mangucci. All right, so we've now dealt with the primary threat if you're sitting in Thailand's seat. But the question I have is, how does he win?
They're the primary threat. If you've seen all the cards in Andrea Mangucci's hand.
No. I'm saying take Mangucci out of the equation here. How does Sudapong win the game?
Jace Ultimate. Maybe you can win it. 8 attacks from Shambling Vent. I mean, those are the 3 ways it's possible.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's opposing Shambling Vents that are going to make that a tall order.
Yeah, the Shambling Vent option is the hardest of those.
So checking out his remaining win conditions.
This is
that's
a nice
cute.
play here. So he's going to use Utter End to take out Silk Wrap, which is going to free up Monastery Mentor. Duress is going to take that last card out of hand for Sudapong. Both players knew what that, or I should say Andrea knew what that card was before. And here comes some Monks. And this is a way to close out the game very quickly for Italy.
Crux of Fate, maybe? Is it still in the deck? No, there's a Duress. Take a peek.
Season.
That's
and
it.
they extend the hand. Italy are our champions at the World Magic Cup 2015. Congratulations to Team Italy.
Very worthy champions.
Awesome moments down in the feature match. Part relief, part jubilation. They know everybody at home, and Italy is cheering for them, and they couldn't be more excited. And being Italians, they have a song for this. Congratulations, Italy, and congratulations to our finalists. Thailand, an epic run for that team. They fell just a little bit short in the end. And Italy are our champions for the World Magic Cup. Great stuff. Welcome back to the booth. Marshall Sutcliffe with Ian Duke and Randy Buehler. And it was our pleasure to bring you the finals there. Super exciting as always. Andrea Mangucci way too far ahead. Yeah. Once Duress hit the stack and he saw his hand, he's like, yeah, no, we're done here. All right, that is going to do it for our booth time. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. Let's send it back to the news desk and Rich Hagan.
Thanks very much to Marshall Sutcliffe, Ian Duke and Randy Buehler there with the call on a tremendous final. Brian David Marshall.
Yeah, coming into this top 8, there were 3 teams that had won at World Team Competition before, 2 teams that had won a World Magic Cup before, 5 teams that hadn't. 2 of them were, kind of Cinderella stories. 3 of them were, more power pack teams. Italy, one of those teams with 2 Pro Tour top 8 competitors, and Marco Camiluzzi and Andrea Mangucci, of course, the two-headed giant of William Bufero and William Pizzi and Francesco Bufero. But Italy just becomes only the 12th team to ever win a world team title in the 21-year history of competitive Magic here.
And that's actually quite a big number because so many, of course, especially in the early years, dominated by the birthplace of the game, Team USA.
And this team, this Italian team, did work with Team USA, worked with Team Brazil, worked with Team Canada. We saw the Team of Megamorph deck, which was pretty contentious throughout the weekend about was that the right choice? A deck apparently Hain had Alexander Hain had created, and Paulo Vitor Damaderosa had advocated for the teams playing. Come up really big here. I mean, just a tremendous achievement for Italy. Obviously Camiluzzi and Mangucci were known quantities on the Pro Tour scene, but I think this is just such a huge moment for Italy to join this very like elite club of countries: the USA, Canada, Germany, Japan, Netherlands, Switzerland, China, Slovakia, Chinese Taipei. Now we're into the World Magic Cup years. France and Denmark, and now Italy are all countries that can say they are world team champions.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. And it will be really interesting to see whether Italy as a community do take this and kick on, because it's only 4 years ago that we were looking at the emergence of Samuele Estrati in modern.
And that is absolutely a catalyst for these guys here today who just won the World Magic Cup. They talk about watching Samuele Estrati coming to all these events, doing well, succeeding, and demonstrating to them that, the Italian Magic community could succeed at the highest level of competition.
Yeah, it's terrific stuff. And so important that we also said a similar story didn't quite go as far as the final with Guatemala, for example.
Guatemala, what a tremendous weekend for them. Again, Christopher Verula, a player who's had a little taste of success and maybe inspired some of his teammates to come and play in the World Magic Cup qualifier based on his success at the Pro Tour. But they got to the top 8. First time they're seeing Sunday competition at this level. We saw Thailand, of course, here in the finals. What an amazing run for Thailand.
Yeah, so let us sort of very much name check them. We thought we might well be talking to them in 5 minutes' time. We won't be.
Yeah, national champion Virpat.
Cyril Oracle. You've got Suripong Pobitagul, who was on Esper Dragons. The last turn fell to him in the end. Then Cham Passadbadshire with the Absan aggro deck. And just tremendous to see. Even Akarash Sorakup, who was out of the spotlight today because, of course, on the final day, one person sits out and doesn't hold the cards. But they're only here on day 3 because of his efforts, in part, on days 1 and 2. So a brilliant performance by Thailand. And, despite the carnage of day 1, and then the last gasps in pool play on day 2, we ended up with what was actually a very powerful top 8.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about all the. I mean, there's 73 teams. There's going to be carnage.
Yeah.
There are going to be big name teams that don't make it through. But France and Japan in one quarterfinal matchup, 2 superstar Magic nations at various times have been at the height of the world superpowers in Magic. France maybe, on the ascent again. Japan recently just put 2 finalists into the Pro Tour. Denmark having an unbelievable year of Magic. Austria, Valentin Mackel, just one of the dominant players on the Grand Prix circuit the last 2 years. And of course now Italy with their 2 top 8 competitors, and now the World Magic Cup trophy.
I will also, since we're in the top 8, I will mention Team Scotland, who will actually be very pleased at the Italian win. Those two teams became sort of fast friends over the course of a match yesterday when the Italians won, over a match where Scotland would not have been live for today unless Italy played and won, which they did, and then over the course of their match in the top 8, which the Italians won again.
And a second trip to the top 8 for Scotland in 4 years of World Magic Cup competition.
And for Stephen Murray.
Yeah, Stephen Murray twice now playing in the top 8, and I'm sure eager to get back again next year.
The phrase "third time's the charm" has already appeared on social media, and I know Scotland are tremendously proud. There were some pictures on Facebook of stores where basically everything stopped in order to watch that quarterfinal. They had the broadcast on through the day, and then, okay, here we go, it's us, pens down, sideboards down, let's settle in. It was great.
One of the things that's really struck me about this tournament is the incredible sportsmanship and camaraderie. We've seen, countries that not 20 years ago were at war, and members of those two national teams sharing a house together.
Right.
We saw, a jubilant Italian team win over Thailand and realize, oh my gosh, our opponents are standing right here. Let's stop and make sure we shake their hands and tell them what an amazing run they had. You talked about the camaraderie that developed between Scotland and Italy, in the final rounds yesterday and into the quarterfinals today. So it's just been an amazing tournament for watching Magic, but also for watching people who've come together through Magic from all over the world.
One thing that's a sort of hidden bonus out of the World Magic Cup, we've talked about how the teams that make it into the top 8 get to come to the next Pro Tour. That's known, and we've said that a bunch of times. What we haven't said is that sometimes the Pro Tour, when you're at your first one, can feel, at least in competitive terms, a little bit lonely. You don't necessarily have a lot of people from your country coming along. You don't necessarily have people who you've tested with. You're probably not part of a super team.
I am sure Verot, Cyril Voracle has gone to many Pro Tours, his dozen Pro Tours, has probably gone to a handful of those as the only or maybe one of 2 Thai players in the tournament.
And Christopher Virula, I know for certain, was the only Guatemalan when he finished 17th.
And it was for Virula especially, he was very excited about taking that whole team with him onto the Pro Tour in Atlanta.
That's right. And
I wonder if they'll wear the outfits.
Now, you see, I was wondering that. I assume there is some, sort of the museum of Guatemalan magic where those 4 jackets are kept in storage until the next event. But the thing is, where you win with that is not just in the experience of coming to Atlanta, because they've had that feel of experience by coming here. Where you win is every day between now and February. Talking to the Scots, they were saying, yeah, haven't played Modern for a while. Guess that better change tomorrow, as they start thinking about Atlanta and that new challenge in their Magic lives. And, for some of these players, they're coming to this event thinking this is a once in a lifetime. And that has changed for some people into this could be the start of a thing.
And we know that in Thailand, the stores there ran events for the Thai team to, have some pocket money and, to be able to, make sure they had all the things they needed for this trip. We know that in Scotland, there was a team championship to help this Scottish national team prepare. You wonder if that national pride will extend now as these teams are going to go and embark on Pro Tour Oath of the Gatewatch in Atlanta.
Well, it really should, because it is such a payoff. The fact we talked about the thread of Italy, and that if you talk to Samuele Estrati, the 2011 version, you trace back to 2008 and the finals of Pro Tour Kuala Lumpur there, and you see the signposts within your country. And if you can just...
And Kobe in 2004, where you had 3 Italians in the top 8.
Right, exactly. And if you can just make that first leap, and a lot of it is about seizing that opportunity when it's there. And that's why the World Magic Cup is so great. You know what? Pro Tours are a little different. At Pro Tours, you sweat, you grind, you weep blood to succeed at the Pro Tour. But at the World Magic Cup, it can be your weekend. It's been the weekend for Team Italy. It is time for the awards ceremony here at the World Magic Cup 2015.
Hello and welcome to the award ceremony for the 2015 World Magic Cup. It's been an amazing event featuring 73 countries playing over 3 days of intense competition here in Barcelona, Spain. And now we have our champions. First though, please join me in recognizing our finalists in the competition for their fantastic performance. Let's give a hand to Thailand. And now, it is my pleasure to introduce the World Magic Cup champions for 2015, Italy. Team Italy, one of the most emotional bunches. What was that song you guys were singing at the end there?
Yeah, we are reliving what happens in 2006 during Italy versus France in Final of Wars. So
we will sing the same song within the end, okay? We'll sing the same song.
Yeah, you guys sing a song for us.
We'll do it.
Siamo campioni del mondo! Siamo campioni del mondo!
Congratulations once again to our champions, Italy. Congratulations, guys. Great work. Congratulations. Great work. Congratulations. You can just hang out with us.
He's a braver man than I am, that Marshall Sutcliffe. Yeah, sing a song for us. Go on, why not? But God bless them, and very much so, Italy are your champions of the World Magic Cup. So how did all this happen? Because they came in one of 73 countries on day one, knowing that only 32 BDM would get to come back on day two.
Yeah, and then we saw the really unique feature of the World Magic Cup, pool play. 1, 16, 17, and 32 go into a pool, 2, 15, 18, 31, etc. Right. And the top two seeds the top two results to come out of each pool win and advance to the top 16. So two teams advance, 2 players fall away, we go to the top 16.
And we had 2 really interesting formats for that day 2 of pool play, because we had Team Seal battle for Zendikar. This was our Oath of the Gatewatch kickoff weekend, but of course those cards mostly are still under wraps. We saw Kozilek, the Great Distortion. We've seen 2 of the new expeditions today. We've seen Crush of Tentacles yesterday, which Surge looks really fun for team play again, sure. When we get to play together. But in addition, we then had the puzzle of Team Unified Standard, and in the end, that is what determined the outcome of the World Magic Cup.
Sure, and again, the same thing for 4-team pools that put forth 2 teams from each pool, which was our top 8, and then we went to a more traditional single elimination bracket, 1 plays 8, 4 plays 5, etc.
Well, speaking of a fairly straightforward bracket, why don't we take a look at how the day has panned out here. We began with the reigning World Magic Cup champions, Team Denmark, who defied all the odds just to get to the top 8, because that is a tremendous achievement in and of itself and shouldn't be lost in the shuffle. What a great job they did. But as we know, they were up against Thailand, and Thailand for most of the day would not be denied. It was Thailand who won that first quarterfinal. Our second quarterfinal, well, that was France against Japan. At BDM, that was the big beast clash of the round.
Absolutely. France had not lost yet at that point. They were undefeated in standard. And Japan, of course, featured the 3-headed monster of Yuya Watanabe, Kenji Samura, and Ryuichi Tamada.
Yeah. And in the end, France advanced. Pierre Dajon and the team, they repeated their victory of last night over Japan, so we knew we'd have a France-Thailand semi-final. Bottom half of the bracket, that saw Valentin Mackel and the Austrians up against Guatemala. Guatemala played utterly beautifully, as they had all weekend long, but it was the Austrians who claimed quarterfinal 3. And then we knew it would be either Italy or Scotland. They had gone at it previously. What happened in this one?
Well, obviously we know Italy came through and went on to face Austria in the semifinals.
Yeah, so France, Thailand were up first in the semis, and this was a good one, and it looked for a long time like France were going to get things done in that, but in the end, Popitagul, Siralert Vorokul, Pasipachaya for the Thai team got the job done.
And what an amazing run through this bracket for them. They defeated, the 2013 World Magic Cup champions and, the 2014 World Magic Cup champions in the quarterfinals, 2013 World Magic Cup champions in the semifinals.
Yeah, there just wasn't a harder route there. And if it had worked out differently, if France had gone down in the quarters, Thailand would have had to get through Japan in the semis.
Which they were up for. They were eager to do it.
Now, to be fair, that was partly about the numbers 5 and 8, because, of course, the highest seed gets to choose whether to be on the play or on the draw.
But while they were able to handle the 2013 champions, and they were able to handle the 2014 champions,
they had someone waiting in the wings.
Thailand was not able to become the 2015 champions themselves.
Because back in the semis, we had Austria against Italy. Italy advanced, you see there. And I think Austria will be a bit disappointed because Valentin Mackel, with his Bant Megamorph deck, he would certainly have felt, he would have a reasonable shot against Andrea Mengucci. Yeah. It was Mengucci who won. In fact, Esper Dragons won on both sides of that matchup. Nicolas Eigner had piloted the Esper Dragons beautifully for the Austrians all weekend long, one of the most experienced competitors.
And Italy, which thought they had a very bad matchup against Mardu with their Temur Megamorph deck, was in the hands of one of the least experienced players on the team, William Pizzi, was able to win that deciding game in the middle match.
So then we had the final. You've just seen it. Thailand against Italy. And coming to the news desk right now are 4 of the happiest people in the world. It is Team Italy. Marco, congratulations. Andrea, fantastic.
The two-headed giant.
Amazing stuff. Amazing.
The two-headed giant.
Just here's the trophy. It is one of the vastest trophies I've ever seen. Magnificent. BDM, take it away. Talk to the 2015 World Magic Cup champions.
You are only the 12th nation to ever win a World Team title, the 4th World Magic Cup champion. What has the response been like already from Italy as you guys have clinched this victory? What have you already heard?
We share to everyone that Italy is a reality, We are a great national, great team, great players. So we're really happy about that.
Tell me about the Temur Megamorph deck. Tell me, because you guys were really nervous about this deck coming into the top 8. In fact, you told me in the semifinals that your matchup was not very good. How did that work out?
Yeah, I think that Timur deck was nice, but Collected Company was a very high variance card, and we whiffed so many times that we were burning out 3 company in every matchup basically, and in the end it worked though. I saw sometimes it shows
twice.
Twice. Yeah. So in the top 8 it waked up.
So, Pro Tour top 8, World Magic Cup champion. How does it stack up? Which was more exciting for you, to be a Pro Tour top 8 competitor or to be the World Magic Cup champions for Italy?
Magic Cup for sure. Won this trophy. I like my new baby. I like.
So we saw last year that when Martin Mueller and the Danish team won and went back home through Copenhagen International Airport, they were greeted by 100 Danish Magic fans. Okay. Now, you guys all going back home through the same airport?
All different.
Oh, no! All right, so we need 100 people to show up at each airport for these guys.
Yeah, because we're from the north, center, Rome, and the south. So, the whole Italy.
But that's what teams are all about, because apart from an event like this, you would never be together. These 4, it brings you together in a way that nothing else does.
Mark, you've been called the father or the big brother, the uncle.
I told you, as a participation. And the babysitter, you know, look, these three guys, we made a great job. I'm really proud of everyone.
Yeah, I was just going to say, speak especially to these two gentlemen who won Pro Tour between them, and to have like such a crucial match fall on his shoulders in the semifinals. How proud are you of the way they performed, the two-headed giant?
Yeah.
We played all together the whole tournament.
And first, before the tournament, I was sure 100% about Mangu, because I know him really well. But you know, hour after hour, test by test, I start to think that they are really young but really good players. So, and now we are champions.
You are, and you guys will all have a chance to become champions again at Pro Tour Oath of the Gatewatch in Atlanta. Congratulations, guys!
Thank you.
World Magic Cup champions from Italy.
Thank you.
The 12th champions in world history.
Team Italy are the champions of the 2015 World Magic Cup. And with that news, thanks for being part of this event and all the rest of the amazing 2015 from Team Italy, on behalf of everyone here at Wizards of the Coast, your host, Rich Hagan, saying good night.
Siamo campioni del mondo! Siamo campioni del mondo!
Oh, so happy for you guys.
That is amazing.
Thank you for your support every time.
Great job. Couldn't do it on air.